Hey, welcome to the Mom Wire series. I'm so excited to invite my friend Amber Peterson. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm really happy you're here. Amber, oh my gosh, she is a mother of 5 kids. Count them 5. Yeah, she's done a lot of chief cook and bottle washing. She's definitely done a lot of meal providing, planning, thinking, strategizing, kid focusing, all that stuff, and especially around meals are probably one of our biggest efforts, chores, whatever, as mom. So tell me how old your kids are.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. Our oldest is 20. And then I just sent my second off to college. So she's 18. And then we've got a 15-year-old son. And he's sandwiched between the 2 older girls and the 2 younger girls. And then we've got a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. So there you have it.
You've got even a wider span than I do. Good on you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, oh my gosh. And we're just doing our kitchen table style of chat today. And Amber's got a great background with food, which is why I said she's fed a lot of people for a lot of years. Yeah, she's got a good background on food. And we kind of thought, there's some pressure around that for moms. There's always that pressure, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then the next day comes breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then and snacks, and this. Yeah. And so we thought we'd kind of gear our conversation around that mom pressure and how to navigate some of that stuff. So, tell me about your background or what kind of things you do in nutrition.
Sure. Yeah. So my background is in functional medicine health coaching, which the core belief is that food is medicine, herbs are medicine. So definitely try to live that myself and try to instill that within my kids. I'm also an intuitive eating health coach and also national board certified. So I work full time in coaching people. So it's always on my mind all day, around talking around food and also trying to feed my own family. So that's a big deal. So that's me in a nutshell. And what kind of got me into it was my own health issues that I was experiencing several years ago. And then working through that, there were days where I would just eat like a whole pan of cherry bars. So cherry bars are a big thing around our house, or at least they were around our house. And so we all love them, and I would make them and I would eat like half the pan. And so it kind of seemed like I was using food as a way to cope with stress and emotions. And yes,
So we all, right. Raise your hand if you've ever.
As moms, we really, I think a lot of times we don't realize that's what we're doing. And really it's just a void that we're trying to fill.
Yeah. Does it count if we're eating off of our kids' plate? Is that, or off their shirt?
Yes, that totally counts. I've seen moms even eat their, feeding like their baby and then feeding themselves to like the mashed sweet potatoes and stuff. And I
Seriously.
just
Yep.
So yeah, it really got me thinking, looking inside myself, well, why, what's going on inside of me as to why I'm eating this way? And it just opened up my whole awareness around how our relationship with food is really a mirror as to what's going on the inside. So that's a little bit about my background and where I've been and where I am now.
Yeah, interesting. That so you've always had your toe in that water, not the least of which was feeding your clan, but and just the pressure around that. But you also, I think, had an awareness, and I love the intuitive eating part of that. Tell me about how does intuitive eating work, not only for yourself, but in serving food to your kids? Like, how does intuitive eating work with my 11-year-old or my 20-year-old or a mom who might have little kids? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because if we can train them while they're young,
Ooh.
such a world of a difference. And you think about how, especially these young girls, when they grow up as teenagers, they'll have a greater relationship with food and a better relationship with themselves. And food doesn't become like the focus and the object of, every single event. Excuse me. So what I've done is when I serve food, I always offer a vegetable. Maybe a couple choices. And so my kids know that they need to have the main course plus at least one vegetable. So there's always a vegetable that's being served. So that's the key, is to always just give a lot of different options. And then, growing up, I don't know about you, Lynn, but you were probably, I don't know if your parents were this way, but my parents were like, you got to eat everything on your plate. We are a clean plate house.
Yes.
That's what we do.
We called it the Clean Plate Club.
Yes.
Including me sitting there when the rest of the family was done, cleared, dishes done. I still had to sit there until my Brussels sprouts were done. Hate them to this day for that reason. Yeah, it does a number on you. I don't subscribe to that to this day.
And it can take some time to change that old thought process, right? Because like you, I remember having to eat all of my oatmeal before I could go to, an amusement park, or eat my lentil bean soup before I could go, trick-or-treating. So what I've done is I've just asked my kids, when they say that they're done, I'll ask them, well, where are you on your fullness meter? So that they can check in with themselves, like, how full are you right now? Are you going to want to eat more in an hour or two? Or do you think like this is going to get you by, so you can go to bed and not have to have a snack and sleep the rest of the night? And so I kind of have them use, this kind of meter, like this is over the top. I'm just overly stuffed. Here is like, I'm just perfectly satisfied. And anything, below down to their stomach is like, yeah, I have some room for some more food. And so she's almost 7 years old. She's really good about that. When she pushes away and she's done, I'll ask her, where's your fullness meter? So that's just a tip that kids, it's kind of, you can make a game out of it and start to help them tune in.
I love it. I do see the intuitive part too, is because you're asking the question now, but I can totally fast forward years later for themselves. Where's my fullness meter? Should I eat some more or not? I mean, the things that you're implanting there and ingraining in their thinking, you're asking now, but I think that, I bet they ask themselves later. That's a good intuitive tip. Yeah.
Yeah. As adults, we're trying to figure out, I think I froze. Did I freeze there too?
Yeah, you're good. I think that one was just momentary. You were in your intuitive cycle and then you went, okay.
You can edit that one. So I think as adults, and especially as moms, we can really use that tool too, because it's very easy to overeat and extend ourselves with too big of portions, or just eat too much too often. And so really being in tune with, well, am I truly hungry? And listening to when we're truly full. That's really listening to inner wisdom that can, take us through the rest of our life and have a better relationship with food.
Yeah, that's and with little kids, gosh darn it, with all kids, there's so much out there that's easily accessible, that makes it hard to resist. There's Cheetos everywhere. There's potato chips everywhere. There's, and I know the schools have tried to take out the vending machines with that, or offer the same thing, or require a couple apples on the lunch tray, or whatever the case may be. But it's just like when they turn teenagers, as you well know, and they drive and they make their own money, I'm just like, did you eat any whole food in the last 7 days? Have you touched anything green? So it's just instilling those young is great and awesome and wonderful. And if you haven't, even if you do, they still kind of can do their thing. So maybe still, as they're running out the door with the car keys, throw them a little wad of broccoli and pray. No.
Yeah. I haven't thought about that one.
Here's some ranch and broccoli. Have a good day at school.
There you go. Well, and as you were talking, I just thought, as parents, we have so much influence and power as we model behavior. And so in our home, we surround ourselves, like the kitchen is our gathering place, and we celebrate with food. We cook together in the kitchen. And so I just took my second oldest off to college, and she's in the kitchen chopping up her vegetables, and all of her roommates are gathering in, and they're watching her, with her knife skills and chopping up these vegetables. And that's just because she's watched mom do it almost every single night, or at least make that big salad on the weekend, so we have a bunch of extra salad for the rest of the week. But it's truly modeling that behavior.
Yeah. And okay, so what tips might you have, or thoughts, or any little ideas? I think we all struggle with the so much effort to go shopping and grab all the things that we need and fresh and all that kind of stuff. And then life happens and you come home and it's this direction and this 18 directions, especially with 5 kids, or in my case, 4 kids. And then you look at that lovely asparagus you bought a week ago and went, well, that's all soggy now, or whatever it is. And recently, I will share this. I tried one of those meal kits.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And that's been really fun because it is so convenient. It's got fresh stuff. And my youngest and I sit there and do the chopping. We chat about the day and we create this, and it's a beautiful, yummy meal. And even if they send stuff in there that maybe I would use a lower fat version of, I just switch it out and use the lower fat version of, or a healthier oil, or whatever I want to do. And it's still great. I mean, I was like, where was this forever ago? And it didn't end up being that much more expensive than like going out. Because sometimes last minute you're like, oh no, what am I going to make? And I have nothing fresh. Well, let's just go out. And so I don't know. I mean, I would say that's one tip I would offer. Is there other thoughts that you might have, like first when you're scrambling?
Yeah, and that's a great tip. And it's a good thing to look at, like, what are your triggers? What are the challenges and barriers? And so you mentioned like time constraints, right? Even for some people, it's even just getting to the grocery store. Like that's a huge thing. And a lot of areas where you can have those groceries delivered to your house, or you can just pull up and have them put it in your trunk. So we've done that a couple times. So all good tips there. Definitely having a plan is the key. And really that's the first step, is just to sit down. And most people like to do that on the weekend and have a plan. What I've done, because I know that the more that we make things routine in a system, then it will start to become second nature. And so what I've done is I have listed like our most favorite recipes, and I probably did this maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and you guys won't be able to see it really, but it's a spreadsheet because I like spreadsheets. But it just lists the whole week, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what we're going to have. So I'll be honest with you, I have not eaten everything exactly like it's planned, but usually what I use it for is I just like, what have we not had lately? And there's an idea right there. It just pops out at me. And especially with the kids, the kids, Mom, what are we having for dinner? And a lot of times I don't know till like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not following this schedule, and then I'll just like whip this. It's actually on my fridge, on the side part of my fridge. And I'll just whip it out and I'll say, okay, let's look at the options. What do you like? And then they'll say, hey, well, we haven't had chicken tortilla soup for a while. And there you go. So
you're like, do I have that stuff? Yeah. Okay. When I grow up, I want to be you. That is awesome. Did you come up with that spreadsheet, or was it a download from somewhere?
Well, I actually took like a business training on how to systemize, your home along with your business. And that was part of business training, but then I just kind of tweaked it and made it my own. But really, if you think about it, the hardest part about I guess the day for some moms is, what am I going to make for dinner? Like, that is the big question.
Yes.
And what do I have in the pantry that I can throw together to make for dinner? And if you already have this is like your staple list of go-to things, and you already have a lot of that in your pantry, then you can easily whip something up.
That's really good. Yeah. If there's a website or anything that people could go to, I know I'm one who would be like, yeah, I don't want to make my own spreadsheet, but if I could download one, I would use it,
Yeah, well, one that comes to mind, I believe it's Real Meal Plans, or it might be 100 Meal Plans. I'm not exactly sure on that URL, but you could check out Real Meal Plans and get some ideas from there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That is great. That is great. Yeah. Some people really, I've had friends who have made the whole week's meals on Sunday, and, they spend like a good portion of their Sunday and they make everything through Friday, which is really awesome. But I still feel like, well, not that we're running on Sunday still, but there's still activity, and taking most of the day to do that didn't really line up with me. So I guess it's, like the things that you're doing, the things I'm talking about, maybe occasionally a meal kit or more occasion, or sometimes going out, it's all how it fits with you. And really, what fits with you is what you're going to do. And then that's going to work for you.
Yeah. And I like to tell people, hey, just look at it like an experiment. Like this, so there's no judgment, there's no shame, like I failed. But if you are able to just look at it like, I'm going to try this week and it's just an experiment, then it kind of takes away that guilt that comes around with maybe feeling like you failed. But I tell you, it's definitely a work in progress to try to find your routine and how it flows.
I love that. I love that a lot because I think, well, I have a whole blog article coming out on mom guilt. And so stay tuned for that, boys and girls. No, but yeah, I think anywhere we can look something honestly in the eye and go, what's this guilt about? Why am I allowing this in? And really, what is it? Is it really guilt? And it is that we feel the pressure of providing what maybe society or what the magazines all show. Look at this mom did this meal, and it's like, oh, well, I'm not measuring up to that. And so I love taking the pressure off and saying, this is an experiment. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes for me. Could I is it a meal that was reasonable or did it take 2 hours? Or how did my family like it? And give yourself that permission.
That's a wonderful way to just sum it up.
I love it. I love it. That is awesome. So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what about, do you work with people that have food allergies seem to be on the rise? Am I right in that? It seems that way.
It's so true. Yes. So I work with several different companies, but to help their clients through health issues. And one is Thrival Nutrition. So if that's something y'all are interested in, you can go to thrivalnutrition.com. And we work with a lot of people who have, gut issues or food sensitivities. And so yeah, that can definitely throw a kink in, the whole meal planning and trying to find the right foods, but it's something that's doable that, with the right information they can work through.
Yeah. I had one of mine who had food issues. I'll just say that. It sounds like you got food issues, man, but he did. And so, and it was always, I didn't know what else to do. I would make the family meal and then I would make what suited him for his deal. And that was hard. And that was fairly exhausting. And then it bled over because then the other ones will go, well, I want that instead, and then like he'd share and then there wasn't enough for him. And there was all this other, and it got to be like, what am I doing? Like it was just, it was hard. It was crazy. Or, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy, but I think one of the, what's a better word than stupid? I was going to say one of the stupidest questions a mom can say is, what do you feel like for dinner tonight, everybody?
Well, I want PB&J and I want mac and cheese and and then mom's making 3 or 4 meals, right?
And you're all over the place. I learned to go, here's what's for dinner tonight, kids. Oh, I don't want, chicken, whatever. Okay, peanut butter and jelly. Help yourself. And it was the ability to go, when they became old enough, it was to be like, here's what I'm serving. Here's what I'm offering, and if it doesn't suit you right now, good luck. And now they're in college and guess what? they know how to make stuff as a result. So yeah, it's hard.
That is key. And to be able to just set some boundaries and say, this is my offering. I'm making this with love. And that's why I'm going back to those, serve a couple options of vegetables. So that is the rule at our house. They at least need to have one vegetable before they leave the dinner table. And if they don't want anything that's on the table, then they can make their own. If they don't feel like making their own or eating anything, then the kitchen will be closed. That's what to say. Well, the kitchen is closing, and the next time it opens up is at breakfast time. So feel free to go hungry until then.
Yeah.
It's a love and logic response. I'm a love and logic parent, and that was huge for us when our kids were younger, because there was a rebellion of some sort of like, I'm not going to eat this. And so we just politely, lovingly say, feel free to to eat, what we serve at breakfast.
Absolutely. I love every ounce of that. I've done that too. And then I started finding food in my daughter's room. And I went, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no, it's really good. And the issue of food is a really wide food, but I guess it comes down to, I love the way you said the intentionality. Like, I'm making this with love. I'm making this, as your mother who cares about you and wants to provide for you. And here it is. And here's the intentionality. I'm making it, I've even considered what you prefer. And that's part of it too. So it's yeah, I think we have several really good points in there about, mom guilt, but definitely start with your intentionality and stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely, because it sends a message that this is important to you as a mom, and the kids they'll buy into that eventually, but they'll push back.
Yeah.
They'll push back, but we gotta hold true, stick to our guns.
Yeah, that's their job. Is like, oh, it's my job to push back. Oh, wait a minute.
Really well.
I love it. Oh, I love all your wisdom too. And you know what? I would really like to include how people can connect with you, because I think you've got a lot of great resources and websites people can go to and stuff. So can I include some links for you and where you go and what you do underneath this little video?
Definitely, for sure. They can find me on Facebook, Amber Peterson Coaching, or they can also find me at thrivalnutrition.com. So that's a good website to remember.
Okay, perfect. I will put never fear. I will put both those at the bottom before we send this out on YouTube. But I just want to thank you so much. Good ideas, good stuff, good mom grounding. And, it's a journey, not a race. And when we see them grow up, I think you and I both have the perspective of still having young ones at home. And then we've seen one or two launch here and we just see what you do every day. It doesn't seem like it matters in some ways, but it does, because then you see them doing their full meter later, or you see them going, well, I really haven't had a vegetable with this meal on their own or whatever. And it's a cool thing. So hang in there, moms. If you've got young ones, it's worth it. It's worth the consistency. It pays off.
It does. It pays off. And when you see them fly out of the nest and doing all those things, then you realize, okay, it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's worth it. Oh man, it's a journey, not a race, and it's a wonderful journey. So breathe in those moments, mama, even with all those greens. Thank you so much for joining, Amber. I appreciate all your wisdom and everything that you offered today, and people can connect with you. And thank you so much.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Lynn.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll catch up with you next time, and thanks for joining the Mom War series.
All right, bye, everybody.
Take care.
Remember to subscribe.